Heavenly Father, we thank you for this beautiful day of life you've given us today in the rain. And most of all, we thank you for that love, unconditional love you have for us. We ask you to continue to bless this institution, the staff, faculty, and students, and be with us tonight as we go through the agenda, and there may be a benefit to our students, staff, faculty, and most of all, our taxpayers. We ask all these things in Jesus Christ's name. Amen.
Amen.
The meeting of the Board of Trustees of Southwest Texas Junior College will please come to order. Dr. Rivera, will you please read the minutes of our last board meeting?
Yes, sir. The Board of Trustees of Southwest Texas Junior College met in regular session August 20, 2020 in the Matthews Student Center, the ballroom. Board President Roarford Flores called the meeting to order at 7 p.m. Board members present were Roarford Flores, President, Dr. Harry O. Watkins, Vice President, Dr. Antonio H. Rivera, Secretary, Maria Elena Lara, Victor Lopez, Tony T. Moreno, and Anita Shackelford. Also present with Dr. Hector Gonzalez, President of the college. The minutes of the June 18, 2020 regular board meeting were read and approved as presented by Dr. Antonio H. Rivera, Secretary. Board President Flores welcomed guests at the meeting, which included college personnel and Tarski, Dr. Mark Underwood, Derek Sandoval, Ismael Martinez, and Whit Carpenter. From the Uvalde Leader News, Melissa Ferrisfield. Audience to patrons are none. Quarterly investment report presented by Ann Tarski, and President's report presented by Dr. Hector Gonzalez. The motion was made by Victor Lopez and seconded by Dr. Harry Watkins to approve the financial statements of July 31st, 2020, as presented by Ann Tarski. The motion carried unanimously. A copy is attached. Motion was made by Tony T. Moreno and seconded by Maria Elena Lara to approve the board resolution designation of tax calculations. The motion carried unanimously and a copy is attached. The motion was made by Victor Lopez and seconded by Maria Elena Lara to approve the resolution to allow President Hector Gonzalez to contract with the election officials of Uvalde, Real, and Zavala counties to perform the Board of Trustees election in the November general election. Motion carried unanimously and a copy is attached. Motion was made by Anita Shackelford and seconded by Tony T. Moreno to move the optional retirement contributions rate to the same rate as the TRS as presented by Ann Tarski. Motion carried unanimously and a copy is attached. Motion was made by Victor Lopez and seconded by Dr. Harry O. Watkins to accept the certified tax rolls values subject to properties under protest. The motion carried unanimously and a copy is attached. Motion was made by Tony T. Moreno and seconded by Mariana Lara to propose a tax rate of 0.1546 cents per $100 valuation. The no new revenue rate motion is the no new rate revenue rate motion carried unanimously and a copy is attached. A motion was made by Tony T. Moreno and seconded by Dr. Harry Watkins to place on the agenda of a future meeting to adopt a tax rate of 0.1546 cents per $100 valuation, no new revenue rate. Motion carried unanimously, all voted yea. Motion was made by Victor Lopez, seconded by Maria Elena Lara to approve the 2020-2021 operating budget. Motion carried unanimously and a copy is attached. Motion was made by Maria Elena Lara and seconded by Dr. Harold Watkins to approve the adjunct overload pay for 2020 and 2021. Motion carried unanimously, a copy is attached. Motion was made by Dr. Harry O. Watkins and seconded by Anita Shackelford to add, revise, or delete local policies as recommended by TASB Policy Service and according to the instruction sheet for TASB Local Policy Manual Update 39 with no changes. Motion carried unanimously and the copy is attached. The motion was made by Tony T. Moreno and seconded by Dr. Harry O. Watkins to nominate Javier Flores and John T. Buchanan for the Uvalde County Appraisal District Board. Motion carried unanimously. After convening an open session, Board President Flores called the board into executive session at 7:35 PM to consider A, employees terminated, resigned, retired, new hires, and transfers under Texas Government Code 551.074. At 8:14 PM, the Southwest Texas Junior College Board reconvened in regular session. With no further business or action items to discuss, Senate Secretary will make the motion to adjourn. Dr. Hale Watkins second the motion, and the motion carried at 8:15 PM.
No, sir.
Gilbert Bermea, Margot Mata, Ann Tarsky, Mark Underwood, Ismael Martinez, Derek Sandoval. Thank you for being with us. Go ahead, Margot.
Good evening, everybody. Good to see everybody. You have your fall enrollment report in front of you. Moving into our current budget, we had projected to see a 10% decrease just because of our current environment. And as a result, as you can see here, we did have a decrease in headcount. Our fall 2020 numbers, finalized census numbers were 6,669, which is a little over 6% decrease from last fall of 2019. But we saw a smaller decrease in our contact hours and credit hours, which is tied into our funding. And so even though we do see a decrease, we actually celebrate the small margin of a decrease in our contact hours and credit hours, because we've actually met 97% of our from last year in regards to that. So, and that's certainly been a huge collaborative effort from everybody in reaching out and doing a lot of our outreach. Our outreach levels increased, and reaching out to students and getting them to come in and supporting them in their registration processes and getting them registered. We continue to push on our 12-week enrollment. Monday is the start of our 12-week enrollment. And so we've seen those numbers increase as well in comparison to other semesters. And so we're very happy to see that upward trend in our 12-week semester, and just continuing to support our students as we prepare already for the spring. And so again, our end results here, even though we see a decrease, it was a small percentage in comparison to what we were projecting. And so we're very pleased to see that, just because we know that at other community colleges, they're seeing a far larger margin. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item is the President's report.
Yes, sir. Item number 6 in your board packet, beginning with the strategic plan. So our current strategic plan is for the 2019-2022 year. So we're finishing up year 3, or in year 3 of that plan. We've done a mid-plan review, and we'll bring that to you probably either December or January. What we're doing right now is we're doing an assessment of evaluating our value statements, our vision statements, and our mission statement. So we're doing some internal exercises to see if those are still relevant. Those statements have been in existence for our institution since 2006. So we felt that it was time to really, give it a real thorough review, and especially in light of this current environment that we're in, it really helped us focus and make some determinations on what is important for the sake of the student and for us as an institution to focus on. So we've begun that process, and our goal originally is to bring that to you, like I said, either December, January, and the first iteration of that is doing that internal. We'll branch out and solicit input from our constituents, from our students, from our employees, from the community, from the board, as we look at what it is, the core of our beliefs, what is the values that we want to espouse as an institution. So that's the process that we're going through right now, as starting with the leadership team, and then we're going to branch out and make sure that we leave no stone uncovered and make sure everybody has an opportunity to have their voice heard on what this institution means to them, either as an employee, as a board member, as a taxpayer, and more importantly, as a student. So I just want to let you know that that work has begun. On the second item, the debates, we have partnered with Sul Ross State University to host debates. And are we confirmed on the October 1st? Not yet. We're working to get that October 1st nailed down for the Texas Senate candidates. On the October 8th, we had selected that date for our own board candidates as well as the UCISD candidates. However, yesterday afternoon, I received a call from KSAT 12, and they have secured a date of October the 8th for a debate between Gina Ortiz and Tony Gonzalez. We have been trying to secure that debate. Both candidates mentioned to KSAT that we were trying to host one. So KSAT reached out to me and said, can we run that debate on your campus? It's in the heart of the district. So we're trying to work out the technical details to enable them to broadcast live from our Tate Auditorium. If we can work that out, I think we have an opportunity to host a televised debate on Channel 12, KSAT 12. They've gotten permission from ABC Corporate National to air it in lieu of the programming that normally airs that day. So it'll be a big deal for us. We can have our flags behind the stage there and get some advertisement recognition for the institution. So I will let y'all know if we're able to push that forward. So we may have to reschedule that October 8th date that we had for our local candidates here. That's the update on the debates. Margot did a good job on enrollment. As she mentioned, we had based our budget on a 10% decrease. Obviously, we were a little over 3% on the semester credit hours, which translates to dollars, which is a good thing. As I said last meeting, normally I wouldn't celebrate a decrease in enrollment, but this time, a 3% versus a 10% is a win. I had told our team, our employees, that we could possibly consider a salary adjustment, a one-time payment, not really a raise, but a one-time payment later in the fall semester, depending on what revenues did and what enrollment did. Our spring registration opens up the 1st of November. I'm not ready yet to make a recommendation to do that. But if there's something that we can do, to help with morale and just make ends meet, we would certainly look at that for perhaps December. But again, I don't want to overcommit ourselves and say we're going to move forward with it, and then the spring enrollment is not what we would expect. So I want to get some registrations behind us before we move forward with that. So just wanted to keep you up to date with that one. COVID-19, the numbers are getting better. I think as of today, we have 2 employees that are out with COVID. One Del Rio and one here. The one in Del Rio is recovering. And then the one here is just on quarantine because of a spouse. So we had a nursing faculty, nursing student a couple of weeks ago. Nobody else acquired COVID as a result of that. They have returned. which is a good thing. It means our protocols are working and keeping the rest of the faculty and students safe, even when there is a positive among them. On the Del Rio roofs, we have hired a private adjuster to assist us and to kind of arbitrate on our behalf for those Del Rio claims. The agreement is his fee is 10% of the additional dollars he's able to secure above what TASB has already committed to the hail damage on those roofs. What they're paying for is not enough. It's not sufficient to replace it. They're, in a very simplified way of explaining it, the roof system is the substructure and then the actual top layer. They're saying even if you damage the structure and removing the top layer, we're not going to pay you for that. So they just want to pay for the very top layer, but you can't remove the top layer without, in essence, removing the bottom structure for it. So that's kind of, in a very simplified way, that's where the conflict lies. And we hope that with the work of this private adjuster, we can get some movement on there. We're talking about $500,000 difference here. And then on appropriations, so we just finalized our LAR, which is our legislative appropriation request. As you recall, we were spared the 5% cut on the current biennium, and we were spared the 5% cut going into the new biennium. But those things can change. You know, I think after the November 3rd election, we were get maybe different messages from our state legislators on what we're going to do. It's a big unknown. So, you know, that's kind of looming on the horizon is what's going to happen with state appropriations there. And so we're very cognizant of the state economy and the tough job that the legislators have to, you know, provide a balanced budget and meet the needs of the state. And then below is just some upcoming meetings and events that we have going on. And certainly entertain any questions.
Thank you. Good report. Next item, consider an act on unaudited financial statement as August 31, 2020.
Number 7 in your board packet are the abbreviated financial statements. Right now, we are in the midst of having our financial audit done for the year. So we are giving you cash balances at this point. On pages 13 through 15, you will see that we have cash in the bank in the amount of $5,987,000, certificates of deposit in the amount of $4,350,000, making our total account balance $10,330,000. Pages 16 through 18. There's a subtotal of current funds, and then if you go down 2 pages to where it totals the other funds with the total funds. Okay, good. Page 16 through 18 shows our investments in certificates of deposit, their amount of interest, and the terms of those certificates. We had restricted certificates in the amount of $3,850,000. All right, we had one unrestricted CD in the amount of $500,000, again making our total certificate of deposit balance $4,350,000. On page 19, you'll notice our maturities and our renewals during the month of August. And on page 20, at the end of August, we had scholarships in the amount of $948,902. Our other investments were the Will C. Miller stocks that had a market value of $168,906. Our corporate stock plant funds were valued at $162,778.
I just want to point out that on the first page, identified as 13, you see that we have 500,000 CD in joint. So it's the first time in many years that we've been able to carry, after year end, a sizable CD from one year to the next. So it's a good addition. And really, I just wanted to point that out because it's been a long time since we've been able to carry over money from one year to the next.
Any questions or comments?
Page 15, on the building fund, are we able to use money from there to like renovations and stuff? For like the dorms and all that?
Yes,
Is that what that building fund is for?
yes.
Okay. And also on page 19, on the renewals, why is our interest rate so low? We went on some of these from 1.89, 1.94 down to 0.25.
The Federal Reserve cut the interest rates. And so as they're coming, ones that we had that were a year ago have a much higher rate. And then as we're having to renew them, we're going to the current rate, which is much, much lower.
Okay. Thanks.
Sure.
Move to accept the report. I'll move that we go ahead and approve.
Any other questions or comments? If not, we'll entertain a motion.
So move. Go ahead and move that we approve the audit.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Next item is consider an act on adopting tax rate of 0.1546 per $100 valuation. We entertain a motion.
So move that to accept the proposal.
Let's see.
You read that?
Who made the motion?
For the motion? Yeah, you have to read the proposed motion and,
Need to read it?
yeah, you have to read it.
I propose that the Board of Trustees vote to adopt a tax rate of 0.1546 per $100 of the property evaluation. This will represent a decrease in the tax rate, but will provide the college with the same amount of revenue as the previous year.
Is there a second?
I think Miss.
You're required to vote so that each one of trustees. I vote yes. Mr. Lopez?
Yes?
Or you want, Dr. Watkins?
Yes?
Dr. Rivera?
Yes.
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 Victor? Please note that the vote was unanimous. Each trustee voted individually. It is now 7:27. And the board will convene in closed session in accordance with the Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code 551.074 to consider employees terminated, resigned, retired, new hires, transfers, Texas Government Code 551.